See, I was hoping our first guest was here, but I know, so in a moment we'll be joined by Louis Cremen. He's actually a cybersecurity teacher, so he helps educate developers, practitioners, anyone really with the cybersecurity ways. He's literally just finished a class, so I already knew that he may be a little bit late. So what we're going to do, I did have a backup plan because I'm a professional, yo. Where's my window gone? Wasn't that great? It was like, yeah, I'm a professional, yo. Whoops, I've lost that window. Anyway, what I thought we'd do is, well, I was going to do this with Louis anyway. So let me just refresh this window. Let's take a look at the vulnerability database, because again, this thing is always great to just see what's come out and some of the new Vun types. And I know MariaDB was in there, and actually I hadn't looked into that one yet. So let's do, I did have my screen shared, but unhooked it. There we go. Oh, and wasn't that good timing? Louis just joined. See, you say his name 3 times and he just appears. Now he's laughing backstage. Anyway, I will delay that for a moment, and here's Louis. Hello.
Hey, Steve. How you going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for joining.
That's all right. I'm assuming you can hear and see me okay?
No. No, I'm joking.
Okay. Oh, well. Okay. Well, that's the end of the talk. Nice to say no chat.
That's always my favorite thing, because yeah, when someone goes, "Can you hear me okay?" and you're like, "No," and they're like, "Wait, how did you hear me?"
Oh dear. Well, I just assumed you lip read it. Actually, you lip read me. I think that's what I assumed there. I have done that from time to time, where someone says something like, "Oh, they're on mute, but they've said this," and everyone has a bit of a giggle because, well, we've all done the on mute thing. We've all done it.
Oh, all the time. Yeah, I just call it a 2020 moment.
I like that. I like to tell my students that if Jeff Bezos, who's one of the most powerful people on the planet, if he can forget to unmute himself during a congressional hearing, it's okay if you forget to unmute yourself. It's okay. You're just like Jeff Bezos. Just like that.
Yep. So, yep. This is the way.
Fabulous.
No, thanks for joining. Tell us a bit about yourself. I mean, I've known you for like ages, for forever. Yeah, for quite some time. But tell us a bit about yourself and what you do. Although I did give away some spoilers that you are a security teacher. But anyway, yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. So my name is Louis, hence the inverted commas. It's a French name, so you just don't pronounce the last letter. It's just a French thing. So my background initially was in software development. So I've done a lot of application development over many, many years, just run my own company, doing stuff for contracts all over the place. And then about 8 years ago, I got a contract in the UAE in Dubai, and they wanted to set up a security testing solution. So we put together a whole bunch of different things and sort of automated the security testing of applications for an entire country, which was very cool. So put together things like source code analysis, reverse engineering checks, static analysis, dynamic analysis, compatibility testing, checking like a wall of devices of all sorts of different manufacturers, different applications, different screen sizes, and then put that into a report that we turn into to something that both executives and operational people can take advantage of. And then that was sort of my throw into the deep end into security, because going from development to security was a very weird path for me. And then, so now I've done a few other things. I've done like a bunch of different contracts and stuff like that, but I've now working as a cybersecurity instructor at DDLS, which is the largest IT and process training organizations in Australia. And we have branches in all over Australia and New Zealand and Philippines. So I run a lot of the cybersecurity classes for them. So this week, I'm actually in the middle of a CISP class, which for those that are not familiar with the CISSP, probably one of the top certifications you can have in information security. The book for it that we're going through this week, I'll give, hang on, the book for it. I mean, it's this big, which doesn't look very big, but if I put it this way, it's about the size of my head. It's quite a chunky thing to get through. So a lot of experience, a lot of work has gone into that, and having some fantastic students, go through the content of that. But I teach a lot of different cybersecurity classes. That's my current role and position.
Nice. Yeah, I've known you since code days as well, which is really cool. And I always find like going from being a developer, that developer mindset, into security or security related things, AppSec, DevSecOps, whatever, is always interesting to understand, like fundamentally the vulnerabilities like at a code level. And like even not even knowing how to write it, but knowing how to read it is still handy, because you can fundamentally understand it at that grass level, at that code front level. I always say code front. Do you often find that?
100%. Because I teach a lot of developers security, and I teach a lot of security people security as well, actually. But a lot of security people, when they talk to developers, they're like, here, use this tool, use this whatever it is, and they don't understand they understand what the vulnerability is, but they look at the code and go, oh, the problem's there, line 153. Like that's all they really can do there. And one of the advantages that I had when I was looking through years and years of code analysis reports and other things, was looking at the code, being able to understand what's going on and going, yep, that's definitely a vulnerability. I can see how that can lead to Sql injection. I could probably do that. Whereas look at other ones and go, oh, that's probably not a vulnerability. No, I wouldn't worry about this. No, it's a false positive, move on. And that was one of the value adds that we had, because we were able to show people where things were vulnerable and where things they weren't. So yeah, was it valuable to have that code and security background? Absolutely.
Have you ever done, we just had my donut on, who has won like countless capture the flags. Actually, he's won 3 now, I found out, with one recently with Hack the Box. Have you ever done a capture the flag?
Yeah. So I've got accounts on Hack the Box and Try Hack Me and a few, and I've done stuff on VulnHub. I teach the ethical hacking class here at DDLS. Can I brag to you? I got this in the mail. I got this in the mail. I haven't even taken out the plastic.
We're got an unboxing.
Not quite. But this is the for running ethical hacking classes. I won their Instructor of the Year award last year, which was awesome. It's such an honor and a privilege. I've got this here because my marketing people want to take a photo, but I haven't done that yet. But I haven't been in the office for ages, and so it's been sitting on someone's desk for about 2 months. So now that I'm finally in the office for a week, I finally have access to it. So it was quite an honor to receive that. So in terms of doing CTFs and things like that, yeah, I've done a few of them.
Nice. Actually, a question that came up in the last segment was, congrats, Louis. Wait, I
can't see the chat. Is there a chat? Really? I can't see it.
Yeah, there is. It's on the.
There we go. Oh, there we go. I can see it. Perfect.
Awesome. I lost my. There it is. Let me put the celebratory fireworks on. There we go.
I love your setup. I wish I had my green screen with me. I wish I had because usually if I have to teach at home, I've got the Twitch setup. I've got the green screen. I've got the Blue Yeti mic like you've got. I've got the lights. I've got the camera. But right now I'm on site, sort of on my laptop with the AirPods on.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. No, I can't do fireworks. I can't do OBS and fireworks stuff here. Yeah, I'll pretend.
So one question that came up and if anyone does have any questions, pop it in the chat. We are watching, so we'll get to them. But yeah, one question that did come up last segment, which I thought was an amazing one, and one that we can ask legally when it comes to CTFs, is what's your favorite vulnerability type? Do you have a favorite vulnerability type? Yeah, I mean, you don't have.
No, that's fine. My favorite vulnerability type. So one of the things I really like about it as certain CTFs is when they mimic real world situations. Like I really, this is going to sound really controversial, and I'm all about controversial things. I really don't like CTFs that are a puzzle. Like it's like a CTF that's been put in place that this would never appear in the real world. Now, I don't mind them, but in terms of trying to teach someone and saying, here's what a challenge would be, in the real world, you would never see a box that's got some sort of hidden puzzle with, I don't know, the numbers of the elements. You look up the periodic table of elements, which goes to a URL somewhere. Like that doesn't exist in the real world. I love them as puzzles, but they don't exist as problems. And I feel myself a bit more real world. So my favorite type of vulnerabilities are those that are more real world, that actually look at configurations where you need to say pivot onto a different network using a machine. Like there's things that are a bit more real world in those ones. Those are the type of CTFs I like, the ones that will utilize, you have to utilize search exploit, find a vulnerability, exploit it, use the tools that you're supposed to be using to get access to domain admin or whatever it may be. That's sort of the preferred way I like the CDFs. That's sort of my experience in that one.
So less Da Vinci Code and more like IRL.
Yeah, I'm more of an IRL person, as I am this week anyway, in person here.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Less cryptic pyramid style, lookup stuff and more IRL. Well, interesting, my donut was saying that much preferred to do SQL injections, which kind of makes sense, because like once you get into that, like you've got schema out and you can inject things into it, then the application, like, yeah, you
if I can use SQL map on a web page that like within like seconds gives me the schema, gives me the data in the database, that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
I've used ones where like there's a vulnerability that allows me to use the database calls to get access to the files inside of the system, or allowing me to deploy a web shell to do further attacks. That's like, there's some really cool stuff that is a bit more real world compared to say the puzzle side of it. So yeah, the SQL injection ones, those are a lot of fun. Always. Yeah. SQL map is a great tool for doing this stuff.
And obviously you're quite familiar with Nmap as well. That's the one I was learning when I last did Hack the Box with the OWASP Sydney crew. Was had Carly fired up, was playing around with Nmap. They always get some like great visualizations running with all the people scanning things and brute force protection kicking in. I did, and shout out to them. Actually, if anyone wants to, highly recommend, if you wanted to get into capture the flags, check out some of the events that the local OWASP chapters run as well. And they like great friends of ours. They do so much like really good work in the education space as well, and they run like free events all over the world. So always worth checking out and getting involved with too. Help out where you can, contribute back, open source way. This is the way.
Yeah, and I this week I had one of the topics in that big book is software development security, and when there's the slide on OWASP, I'm like, I fangirl over OWASP. A lot of the stuff that they have is absolutely fantastic. A lot of people just consider them to be that top 10 vulnerability list, which by the way is amazing. I'm a huge fan of top 10 risks and web applications, but they've got so much. They've got the SAM, they've got the testing guide, they've got the security verification standard, and you're talking about CTFs. I love their juice shop project. In certain events, I will spin up an instance of juice shop on a Heroku box and say, hey, students, have at this for 3.5 hours or however long they're going to be doing this for. And then there's flags, there's little fireworks when you find one. It's very cool. So big fan of OWASP. And yeah, definitely join your local group and participate in the community, because community is a great way to meet people.
Indeed. That's where we met.
Yeah, it was.
Years ago. That was
at a hackathon down my way.
That's right. Yeah, that was a hackathon. That's where I met Dev Valley.
Exactly. Yeah, it's where I met a few people.
That was still talk to
because it was such a good event. Like it was really a lot of fun. And it's always good to meet like-minded people. You never know, you might become friends for 12 years. Or 14 years, I think you and I now. Certainly.
Wow, has it been that long? I've only gotten more great. What is age? It's just, we were talking about quantum before and just like entanglement and stuff, and like time doesn't exist. Anyway.
I wish you told me that. I have a book that I usually bring for my students, not for my students, but like usually bring. It's just called Quantum Computing for Babies. Someone gave it to me. It's a fantastic book where it's like literally sort of going through the very basics of quantum computing. It's made for like a 2-year-old, but like someone gave it to me for my child, and I think I've used it in my classes like with really as a bit of a joke, but I think I've used as a way of accessibly talking about quantum computing, or talking about how quantum algorithms or quantum computing will break asymmetric encryption algorithms. And I think the topic there is absolutely fascinating.
that is literally what we're talking about before too. The quantum encryption
really?
stuff is fascinating because, and like with entanglement, I was saying you could technically encrypt the password before you set it because it doesn't really matter like which. Anyway, it's a whole. Yeah,
it's a whole thing there. I think the one thing I'm really curious about is quantum key exchange, because it's going to break a lot of our key exchange ability. Quantum needs to solve what it breaks. So I'm really curious to see what happens there. There's a few like lattice-based algorithms that are curious there, but I think I think it's outside the scope of the big fix. I think it might be outside the scope of what we're doing here.
Totally is for now, and yeah, it's it's a whole rabbit hole of things dropped down there. We do have a question though. So Randall asks, and this capture the flag related, but do people, or not really, it's also IRL, but do people still use Metasploit nowadays?
I don't see why not. I mean, Metasploit and Searchploit and all these things are a great way to find certain exploits. Is everything Metasploit? No. But in terms of actually, there's a reason it's one of the more popular exploit frameworks. There are other ones that exist out there, Cobalt Strike and others, but Metasploit is still used, definitely. Now, there are some credentials, like I think OSCP doesn't let you use it as part of their exam because it is so, I don't want to say easy, but it is easier to use a framework that does a lot of the work for you than to test the knowledge yourself, which is what that certification does, which is why some people are like, oh, do people still use this? Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely still use Metasploit.
Actually, one of the things I wanted to do, I know we were talking about this earlier in the week, is go through the vulnerability database and just look at some of the new vuns that are out this week. MariaDB made the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was surprised about this too. Anyway, we'll take a look at that in a little bit.
I don't get surprised at vulnerabilities these days. It's like, oh yeah, all right, okay, another one, okay. What was Maria's one?
Well, there's a few.
Oh, great.
yeah, like I use that, as does many others. Anyway, well, did you want to take a look at that now, or the other? I mean, the other thing I was keen to talk about was the I moved the wrong window. Was the ISO you were posting about earlier in the week, which I found interesting, the 27002 changes and updates that come in, which we can talk about too. And did you have you wanted slides?
Yeah, I think when we were talking about this, you were talking about sort of, how can people get into security? That's sort of the topic that a lot of people talk to me about, because I teach certifications, because I teach Security Plus, I teach Ethical Hacker, I teach Certified Information Security Manager, CISP, the CSSLP, which is a Certified Secure Software Lifecycle Professional, and a few other ones. So like, they're like, okay, you've got the knowledge side of it. How do I get into this industry? Like, what should I be learning? What do I need to know? So I do have some slides that I'm not gonna lie to you, I've recycled from something else. So if you are interested, I do have that there. I think there's some really good information in that. But I'm happy to just chat about whatever you want, Steve. So whatever makes your heart happy.
Now I'm torn because your presentations are always so ace. Oh wait, we had another question coming. So Randall asks, on the cert side, what is a good cert to get if you're trying to get into red teaming? That is a really good question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And Steve, if you want me, if I go into my little slide deck, I've actually got a picture on there that will actually help answer that question. I'm sort of the circle. No. I love the circle though. It's my circle. I love that circle.
It does the rounds.
How do I close this thing? How do I get out of this thing?
How do I get out? That's the first pun I've done all day, so just saying. If you want to share screen.
Steve, I don't believe that for a second, that's the first pun you've done all day. I don't believe that for a second.
Oh, actually, maybe it was the second one. But if you want to share screen. Oh, there you go. I'll bring it up.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I've only got a single monitor because I've just had to bring up my laptop. In terms of getting into cybersecurity, current slide. These are some of the key areas that a lot of people look at in terms of security, because a lot of people go like, I want to get into security, and the next question I ask them is, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And there's a whole bunch of different areas to get into. Now, the person in the chat was asking about red teaming. And I don't know whether or not that person already comes from a penetration testing background. They want to move into, APT emulation, or if they're moving into a different area. But there's lots of different ways to improve your knowledge, skills, and abilities in those different areas. And I'm happy to go back to this slide in a moment, but to answer that person's question, this is a really good chart. And it looks like, I don't know, someone just vomited all over the screen. But I really like this chart because it sort of shows a lot of the different verticals for different certifications. Now, I can't see any facial movements you've got there, Steve, because I've only got one monitor. So feel free just to chime in with words if you've got questions. So one of the more popular certifications that people like in this space is OSCP. The Offensive Security Certified Professional. That's probably one of the top, well, not top, but it's certainly one of the ones you want to have if you're moving down that penetration testing path. Now, I'm a huge fan of CEH and the Ethical Hacker, but it is a foundation class. Like it's down here. It's a foundation class. By the time you finish that class, you're going to have some great knowledge in different hacking tools, but you've got to go through the penetration testing methodology. You've got to have a process for creating this. And when you get to red teaming, you're looking at emulating certain TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures that you would have to perform on an organization. So moving up the path, you usually want to lead more towards the OSCP or the OSWP for web application, think from memory, and then up to OSEP. Now, one of the ones I'm looking at is I'm actually curious to see how CPENT goes. That's EC Council's penetration testing one. They've said their exam is harder than OSCP. I'm curious about this. So there's a few different certifications, but OSCP is certainly a community favorite. I'm curious to see how CPENT goes in this area. But if you've got no experience, starting off with either Certified Ethical Hacker or Pen Test Plus, those are really good certifications to get started into. Those are some of my thoughts on that one. Whoops, I'll stop sharing on that one. Those are some of my thoughts on that one. Hopefully that answers someone's question. I can't hear you, Steve.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
cool. I thought it was me for a moment. Then I'm like, oh no, the guest can't do it. That guest who can't figure out how audio works. That's all right. It wasn't me. It's good.
I took that moment to maybe drink some more Red Bull because, yeah, energy. Yeah, I had a 2020 moment. I was demonstrating a 2020 moment. Not a bug.
I have them every week, Steve. It's all good.
No, that does help. Thank you. And always love your slides. That slide with all the colored boxes and stuff was quite formidable. Just saying.
It's one of those, people go, I want to do security, and not realize how broad it is. Like security, a lot of people used to associate security with appliances, with firewalls and stuff like, and IDS and stuff like that. But security has just gone so broad, and you can go into so many different horizontals or verticals. You can be a generalist, you can be a specialist, and there's work out there. Penetration testing and red teaming is probably the hardest place to get work in because it is seen to be one of the sexiest parts of information security, and therefore there's a lot of people in that space, and there's less demand for that than there is for, say, governance and defense. So it is one of the harder areas to get into. So the person who asked that question, Regis, I don't know if that's helpful for you, so please give me some feedback on that one, but certainly it's quite useful.
No, thank you. We actually have another question too from Leet Hacky Kyle. No, I'm just saying Leet because it's spelled Leet. Anyway, do you have any advice for folks who want to discover novel container escape breakout vulnerabilities? That is a good question.
It is a good question. Black Hat last year had about 3 talks talking about some of the vulnerabilities in Kubernetes and Docker that led to a number of different attacks. So I would heavily recommend some of the talks from Black Hat from last year. They were really good. And I know a few of us in the information security community were sort of sharing these around. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't remember any of them because I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And I just forgot it because like I don't do a lot of container stuff. But certainly some really good things there. The other thing I'd probably recommend, and it's not for novel container escape, but looking at the OWASP cheat sheet series for how to configure Docker and Kubernetes, and also the CIS benchmarks, the Center for Internet Security. If you're looking for defending rather than attacking, the Center for Internet Security have a whole set of benchmarks and guides for protecting the different environments. They've got things for like Amazon Linux. They've got stuff for Zoom. They've got stuff for all sorts of things. They do have guides for Docker and Kubernetes, which I highly recommend because the CIS security benchmarks are quite well known and well utilized. So Hacker Kyle, elite as you are, hope that was a good enough answer for you.
Yeah, actually, the whole containerization vulnerabilities I always find interesting because, like, quite often you just use a container without even realizing. Like, literally, like I can pull down the PHP one or the Node one, scan it, and there's like vulnerabilities in there, and you're like, but no, everyone else is downloading this one. And kind of makes you realize, that whole. And again, this kind of goes back to the whole developer first and then adopting security approach is. When you look at it, you're like, wait, now I know why I had to redeploy that thing 8 times because I didn't pick up this one vulnerability and all of a sudden, like, data's getting leaked and someone's mining Doge and there's a rootkit on the server and, like, it brings back memories. Like, it's like, oh, yeah, now I know why. Now I know how to fix that thing.
Yeah, and I think it's like most things, a lot of it is being able to detect when it's found out, being able to know that you've got this in your environment, and that's one of the challenges. Yeah, and there's a lot of chat in the AppSec community around SBOM, software bill of materials, knowing what it is that you have. And so you may not recognize at the time that it's a malicious container or that has a vulnerability in it, but having something to detect that is vital. It is absolutely vital. Yeah. I think you guys do that from memory.
We do.
On your list of things that you do well.
Oh, list of things. Well, I mean, if you scan something, fix it, and then and you've already signed up for the big fix, you get a T-shirt for the next 22.5 hours, ish. So yeah, the time might be a little more time to that, but I mean, you want to get those fixes in because you don't want vulnerable stuff. Just saying. The one thing, I mean, like, there's so many times, even through my developer origin stories, I like to think of it, where it's 2 a.m., you're looking for that particular solution to that code thing that you were trying to do, and you find a Stack Overflow or what forum post or Reddit, whatever it is, someone going, oh yeah, I just installed this package and I went and did a thing. And you do that and it works, and then you deploy it, and then 2 days later there's something not right with the site, and all of a sudden there's things popping up and whatever else. Like, it's so easy to inadvertently just install that thing without even realizing. Or even have that thing. Yeah,
it's true for Docker. It's true for NPM. Like every month, there's some sort of news story about malicious NPM packages that are in a million applications and stuff like that. There's always stories like that, and it's always challenging to keep on top of it because as developers, we've got to get the job done. We've got stuff. We've got deadlines. We've got stuff to do. Like, as much as tell developers to care about security, it's not like we want to have security built into the life cycle, and detecting vulnerabilities and stuff we've done in the past is so vital. It's so vital because I don't look at my code every single day. Gosh, there's code that I've written from 6 years ago that's in the production. I'm not going to ever look at it again. So definitely being able to detect when something going wrong is absolutely vital to what we do.
Actually, I wrote years ago. It's actually still on my GitHub. I scanned it recently, and I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have released that. But I actually wrote a Woocommerce plugin. And so for those that don't know, Woocommerce is the e-commerce solution for WordPress, which used by a lot of the internet. And so it's open source, it's free, it's amazing, it's really cool. And shout out to the Automatic. We are going to look at a WordPress thing at the moment, but shout out to the Automatic security team because they do a pretty damn good job, keeping that thing secure, keeping that whole project. But anyway, I did release remember the PayPal Here's, those little credit card key terminal things? There was an unofficial SDK for those. And so I actually wrote a WooCommerce integration into a PayPal Here and kind of realized how many vulnerabilities were in it, even for the day. that I should have been aware of first. But
it worked.
I mean,
but it worked. So why would you ever look at it?
Totally worked.
Totally
it side-loaded stuff in. Yeah, it side-loaded things into the app, like into open the app up. It was great. It did the job, but it was vulnerable. Anyway, and then wouldn't have known. Didn't even know.
No, I've been teaching developers security stuff for 8 years. A lot of the time, it's due to ignorance, and that's not because our developers are stupid at these things, but because it's freaking hard. Like, we're so focused on developer stuff. Like, we need a way to catch our mistakes. I can guarantee not all my code is perfect, whether it be vulnerabilities or bugs. I've certainly written bugs in my time. Who hasn't? What's the phrase? If debugging is the process of taking out bugs, then programming is the process of putting them in. And that's true for vulnerabilities as well. It's true for vulnerabilities as well. But yeah, having that built into that life cycle, it's so valuable.
Which is why, everyone should be scanning stuff and getting t-shirts and Big Fix t-shirts.
We should do that. Definitely get a t-shirt from Steve.
Should we, guys? Got to get please take the shirts. But you just got to get those fixes in. Do we want to have a look at the vulnerability database? I always love looking at this, not to see like new things appear in there, just to see what is in there and what type of things are emerging and what ecosystems.
Whatever makes your heart happy. Let's do it. Whatever makes your heart happy.
Well, it doesn't make me happy that there's things in this, but I mean, I would prefer to know what is in this, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is like, it's not playing nice, is it? It's sizing the wrong way. There we go. That's probably a bit better. But yeah, here's the MariaDB ones. I was like, I did not look at this for a few days because I knew I was going to be like talking about this on the live stream. And for those that just joined us, you're watching the 24-hour Big Fix live stream. We're 1 hour and 35 minutes in because I have a countdown timer on the display here. And you're with developer Steve, hello, and Louis Cremen, and we're currently about to go through the vulnerability database. Why this is good timing, if you have just joined, is you can use this to identify potential things to go fix and get yourself a t-shirt, a free t-shirt. It's also free to fix, to scan and fix any projects that have these particular libraries or components. And right now we're looking at one that, I'm pretty sure most of the internet's using for not even one, 4 of them for MariaDB, which is super interesting. Anyway, we're going to go have a look at one of these. So there's the MariaDB ones. There's Vim, which I'm just really sad about because I like Vim.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about the Vim versus Emacs debate. There's no debate. It's just Vim. Vim wins.
It's just Vim. I mean, :WQ without even thinking.
I completely agree. I love that there was 1 million views on the Stack Overflow article about how do I exit Vim. That catches up every time. I love that.
Dave Stedge. I've got to work out how to say that. Also, just put that one in there too. I also do small q ! When I've done something that I don't want to save or undo, you just go out of the file and might go back in.
Most of the time I do that because I get this little box that says, this is read only. I'm like, oh, crap. Exit, command Q, colon Q, sudo, ! Bang, back in. Because if there's an exclamation mark is the previous command. So if you do sudo that, it means you can run the previous command. It's awesome. I think more people need to know this. But yes, there are definitely previous escalation exploits you can do there that Carl mentions. But what we're going to say with Vim. If you want to know more about Vim, there's a really cool website called Vim Adventures. And it's basically like an adventure game, but you have to use Vim commands, and it teaches you how to use Vim through an adventure game. I think it's a really novel way to learn this. I did some lecturing at university for a little while, and I used to tell my students who really wanted to look like they were cool because they're using Vim, I was like, hey, if you want to learn this, here's a game to teach you. And it is very cool. I do recommend looking at that.
That is cool. I actually did not know that, and now I'm going to add it to my list of things to go check out. Speaking of things to check out, We did just get a question about when Snyk will start supporting Vim L. This is a great question, and being a lover of any Vim, I will follow up on that and find out, and probably suggest it as well, because yeah, Vim L, well, any Vim is just cool stuff. And Hacker Carl has actually added, we should make a Snyk Vim plugin so you never have to leave your terminal. Yes. Oh yeah, this is now a thing. Funded. Yes, funded. Anyway, Vim's in there, which really makes me sad. But there was also another one that kind of made me sad. Let's have a look at
lot of ones there.
So yeah,
WordPress core.
Fine. So for those that aren't familiar with the WordPress world, I mean, it powers a lot of 79% of the internet is still powered by PHP. And I'm not just saying that because I love it. But anyway, it still powers a bunch of the internet. And most of it is powered by the WordPress folks, which shout out to them. Amazing work. Super good security team. I've been over, I actively scan a number of projects, and that is one of them that I actively continually scan just to make sure, there's nothing nasty that gets released, etc. But and always contribute back where you can. You do it now, you get a t-shirt. Anyway, whole thing. So there's a few ways to install WordPress. Now, it doesn't actively support Composer, and this is PHP Composers like the package manager, the package manifest, etc. This, for the PHP ecosystem, this is kind of the main way that it's installed through Composer. WordPress is installed through Composer. The fact that and this has had like 5.2 million downloads or something to date. The fact that this is like vulnerable, and that Automatic, actually the company that manages the WordPress project, actually put out an alert saying that there was 12 or 13 particular WordPress plugins that interacts with this and creates nastiness to occur. So please get those things updated. Get a t-shirt while you're at it. But get those things updated, because we don't want vulnerable websites just in general. But I mean, that affects users, that you can use it for DDoS attacks, like all sorts of nasty things can happen. Like, I've been there, cleaned up so many WordPress sites over the years. Anyway, I feel I'm on a soapbox now.
That's okay. That's your platform. You can soapbox as much as you want. No, definitely. And like, yeah, I've had a few students that have come through in the past and gone, students and people in general, where they're like, oh crap, we found a web shell. Like, we found something that was executing done on a web server. Like, and stuff like this, arbitrary code execution. Yeah, this is the exact sort of stuff that sort of can lead to that.
So
awful.
easily.
Awful. So
actually,
yeah,
this is
update your WordPress.
This is actually the reason why, partly why, back when I would spend some time in digital agency, like many years ago, like it's a great way to test your skills as a developer, like the chaos of the agency life. But the reason why I got into DevOps originally was to run my own infrastructure, because the shared hosting, and I won't mention any company names here, were making my WordPress campaign client sites like vulnerable. So it was just a way to sort of help secure things. Fundamentally, I just wanted to build my own playgrounds as well, because I mean, as devs, that's what we like doing. There was so many times where I'd have to redeploy almost weekly. Some of them redeploy sort of WordPress installs, just because one thing was letting the rootkits in, shells in, like all sorts of nasty stuff. And in agency world, like the end of the week or end of the month, you get that bill, and your cloud hosting like usage is through the roof because something's running. Yeah, so many times. I still wake up in cold sweats over that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a student who they submitted an assignment, and I said they should use like GitHub, stuff like that, but they put their private key for Amazon inside their GitHub, and they like overnight had like thousands of dollars worth of usage. And I said, look, Amazon's going to take care of everything, and they did. But yeah, it's the impact can be quite high, particularly if you're sort of doing that sort yourself. I'm getting towards the end of the time I can spend with you there, Steve.
No, that's all right.
25 minutes. We've got stuff to go.
No, that's fine. Really appreciate you joining today. And thanks for the geek out in the chat. It's been absolutely amazing as always.
Thank you, Steve. Always love chatting to you. Invite me back anytime.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Enjoy Steve's company. It's fantastic.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure now. Oh, how am I going to follow up on that? Anyway, so I thought we will be joined by our next guest in 15 or so minutes, but I actually wanted to keep going through the good morning to those that just joined, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending where you are in the world. But yeah, I thought I actually wanted to keep going through the vulnerability database a little bit more. Because again, like I always check this every single morning just to see, well, from a number of point of views, just some of the stuff that's appearing in there, which ecosystems, what type of vulnerability types, and even just digging through it to understand that particular vuln some more. Because as a dev or as a technology person, as an infrastructure geek, I guess, yeah, does that go together? Yeah, it does now. I always just love seeing like how these things surface, like how these vulnerabilities work and why they work, and so even spotting, like Louis was saying, being able to spot them in the wilds of the internet, the wilds of the open source world, wherever, being able to spot them and knowing what to look for, knowing fundamentally how these things get through is part of the way of fixing them and making sure they're not a thing ongoing. So I'm really keen to look at this MariaDB one. So yeah, just going back to what we were talking about before, like if you are using WordPress, make sure there is a patch out, there is an update out. So make sure you get those things updated. And more importantly, before you do, sign up to the Big Fix and get that repo monitored, get that project monitored, do the fix, and then we send you a t-shirt. Also, if you, we do have to do that in a minute. We need to do the raffle. The first raffle, wow, no pressure. I will have to change scenes for that one. Anyway, we are going to do the Twitter raffle in the next 9 minutes, probably less. We'll go through this a little bit and then we'll go through that. So what I'm going to do is pull out a random number, pull out a list of people that have tweeted the Snyk account with the hashtag #TheBigFix. And I will pull the list out. We'll generate a random number using the Google machine and then announce our first winner. So if you haven't tweeted yet, please do a shout out for something you fixed, do a shout out for something you want to get fixed, that you're looking for contributors for, just any of the aforementioned, and we will capture that through, we're actually using a project called Superset, which I spent 10 years as a data analyst. I love pulling out data and like doing all sorts of fancy things with it. So we're using Superset to do the monitoring for that. And so we'll pull the list out through that. Shout out to Superset and pick a winner. Yahoo! Raffle time! Woo! Anyway, update WordPress. Now, MariaDB, buffer overflow. So there's a bunch of versions, as you can see. There's an upgrade, which is really, really cool. There's also a MariaDB security changelog, which is also great. Oh, need to maximize that a bit. Do they have... I usually like seeing GitHub. Yeah, okay. Full CVs. I always like seeing the GitHubs because I can look at the actual code. There's a whole bunch of different versions. I actually don't know which one I'm using at the moment. Let's click that one. Just reading because I am literally looking at this for the first time. Anyway, maybe I should have gone to a different one or probably done this before now. In hindsight, maybe I can entangle this bit, like quantum entangle this bit and like go back in time. Anyway, this is worth checking out, but it wasn't quite the GitHub repo experience I was looking for. Wait, I'm going to click another one and see. I literally always like seeing the commits and issues. No, okay, it's going to be the same. Alrighty, well, let's go do the raffle then. Again, if you're looking for projects to update, to manage, like even that from an infrastructure point of view, there's probably going to be containers that you can do some upgrades or some version upgrades on MariaDB, some container images, which is a great way to also get yourself a t-shirt. And they're all open source as well. So, well, yeah, pretty much they're all open source. Anyway, but this list in general is also a great way to identify projects to grab one of the Big Fix t-shirts. One of the things that appeared in the list recently, actually, let's bring it up. Bring that one up. Was Electron, which, like, I already know there's so many. Oops. Electron. Hey, there we go. So yeah, as you can see, Electron. Oh, it's opening a lot of windows. There we go. Yeah, Electron had a lot in it recently, and there is a bunch of. Oh, went too far. There we go. I already know that there's so many apps that use Electron for so many different reasons. And electronjs.org, I think it is. There's literally an aggregated source of open source projects that are all built from Electron. So, and there's some really good apps in there, including like open source classroom learning desktop software, and all sorts of things that can, like, you can check and scan, do a pull request, like get them updated to a more secure version and one that's not that's vulnerable, and score a t-shirt. Just remember to sign up at the Big Fix website before you do all that, and yeah, you qualify for the t-shirt as long as it's in the next, what are we at, 22 hours and 10 minutes. It just clicked to 1 hour 50. There we go. I literally just saw it. All right, so I actually hadn't planned how to run this Raffle thing beyond. All right, let's check it now. All right, cool. So I'm about to draw the first raffle. If you haven't yet tweeted, please do, because I'm literally about to pull the list out and then go generate a random number, which I will do on the screen. Log into that. I'm just literally reading the instructions. All right, we have a random number generator. All right, so let's do the thing. I'm going to download a CSV. All right, so export a CSV. Oh, that was so easy. Shout out to Superset. That is so easy. Cool. I'll open that in Sheets. Oh, and our next guest is almost ready to go, so I better hurry up. All right. I feel I should be playing drum roll music right now, but I have to open this in something. All right, let's go Excel. Hopefully that doesn't crash like my entire system because Fridays. It's installing something. This is unexpected. Don't do that. Anyway. So just while that's happening, if you haven't yet tweeted, please do. In 2 more hours time, beyond now, we'll do this again. So we'll be able to generate a new random number. All right, so I have to do it between 0 and that many. Hang on, typing, generate, and 36. Now, did that open? Oh, it did open. All right. So we go to 36. It's got a header row, so I'm going to go to 37. And it is, all right, so the lucky winner of the first book, the first security book for the Big Fix is, wait, drum roll. Twitter user Karen6Kani. I hope I said all that right. So that was from somebody from Systig, I think. Anyway, we'll track that person down later, but it is Karen6Kani is the first winner of the first security book. So there you go. I'm just going to pop that username into the chat as well. Put into the private chat. Oh, Mike is here. Let me put that into the chat so we can record it. There we go. Wait, Mike, did you want me to bring you on? Oh, okay. Sorry. I'll undo all that last part. Wait, entanglement do-over. Okay, cool. I'm just getting some instructions. Amazing. Thank you. so many logistics to work here with many, many desktops and many people. Again, shout out to the many people on the Snyk side of things, all the colleagues that have helped make this entire live stream possible. If you've just joined us, you are watching the 1 hour and 53-minute already kicked off of a 24-hour live stream. So we're only part of the way in, which is why I'm still looking chipper and fresh. Also, the Red Bull is helping. But we have our next guest coming up in a moment. If you haven't yet checked out the Big Fix, I will put that link to that into, I think I have this on standby, but I'll put it into the chat now. So if you're not familiar with it, please check it out. Basically, you need to hook your code projects up to Snyk, sign up to the Big Fix, either before that or after that. Do some scanning, free to do, and then fix some stuff. So you'll probably find some packages or some infrastructure or some IAC configs to it'll identify the fixes that are needed and the vulnerabilities that have appeared. So you fix those particular things and then do it, like commit that back, and we'll pick that up automatically, and you'll score yourself a t-shirt. If you tweet us about it as well, every 2 hours we are giving away a raffle. We are doing a raffle to be able to give away some security books as well, which stay tuned to that one. We will update that live as well. So there you go. That's how you get involved. I'm going to play a quick clip, and then we'll bring out our next amazing guest. I'm really excited to talk to her. She's actually in a more futuristic time zone than me. So there you go. I didn't think that was possible because, compared to most of the people in the companies that I work with globally, I'm in the future. And hello from the future if you're watching from a time zone that's not GMT plus 11. But this person is actually from an even more futuristic place. Now, we won't do any spoilers yet, but we'll talk about that when we come out. So there you go. Anyway, I'm going to play a quick clip, and then we'll be back in a moment. But please keep watching. We still have 20. This is going to get hard later on as I'm getting tired and the Red Bull runs out. But we still. I should write some code for that. We still have 22 hours left. Almost got that right. I can math. 22 hours left of a 24-hour live stream. There we go. I got through that. All right, let me switch over and play a clip, and we will be back in 1 minute.
Hey, and welcome to Snyk's Big Fixathon live stream. We have an exceptional event planned with interesting topics and amazing speakers to help improve developer security. With that said, be sure to check out the full schedule at the link below to find sessions for you. Enjoy the rest of the stream, and happy